So now it's harder because there's less business to be had out there. So we need to be changing the conversation so that we can keep up. And just it starts with addressing the fact that it's not yesterday, it's not last year, it's not 2 years ago. The wind's no longer at our backs. So what do we need to, that moves into what we need to do and what that conversation should be in order to change your business, change how you're going about things.
So it's like the other saying, like, easy times make weak men. And in this scenario, it's weak men and women and businesses.
Business models,
right? Like everybody's been
resting on their laurels, right?
Just chilling out, letting deals flow towards them.
Fish were hopping into your boat.
And so now we got to change how we act.
Yes.
And so what are the things that you and Atlas is doing to change the way that we act?
Is get lean. This is stuff that people should be doing with their money. In times where there's a lot of volatility and uncertainty, you need to get lean with your money. We talk about red light, yellow light, green light.
That's my boy.
So if things aren't producing an ROI or bringing you energy, then you need to cut it. If you're unsure about it and you need to give it a little bit more time, you should yellow light it and then have some KPIs that measure whether or not it's going to bring you a return or bring you some energy or improve your quality of life.
Sure.
Not just business stuff.
Right.
And then green light is stuff that produces a return for you either monetarily or with your energy or in your overall quality of life.
So for people that are not quite to a large team or actually business builder-esque agents yet, what are you talking about as far as things they could be, they might not be spending any money on ad spend or whatever yet. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, I think everything should be looked at as an investment and not an expense, right? So with an investment, you're expecting a return. With an expense, you're just paying it out there.
Right.
Right? Like you go to get food, it's an expense.
Right.
When you are doing something that's an ad spend to bring you leads, there's got to be a return in that, right? So it's just looking at things as an investment, or is it just you throwing money at things?
Got it.
The next thing is pad your emergency fund in buckets. Again, we're in a time of uncertainty. Nobody knows what's going to happen next year, let alone, or next month, let alone next year. So making sure you have cash on hand to fund living expenses for a certain amount of time. Rule of thumb is between 3 to 6 months. That's personal preference, but stocking, instead of spending all of your money once you get a check, putting some aside for an emergency fund for a rainy day.
And the other thing with that is what you said, putting away in buckets. Like, you also need to be saving for your tax man, right? Like the tax man is still going to want his money from last year's ridiculously great real estate times, right?
Hope you put it away.
Hope you put it away then,
Could
because
be
if not,
lesson.
you need to be paying. You need to be paying for it now.
Yep. The eighth thing that people could be doing is change their perspective from looking far out and longer term goals and goes in short sprints, so bunker to bunker. You're not trying to get across the whole field. You're just trying to get to the next bunker. The market's so volatile now. Thinking 2 to 5 years down the line is so far away, and so much can change. You got to narrow your focus to what can you do over the next 3 months to have a winning quarter.
Right. So that's pretty contradictory to what a lot of times what we've been talking about for as long as we've been in the industry is, setting these long-term goals. We still want those out there, right? But narrowing it down to just the next month, 3 months, and then what are we doing in this next month to increase our database or whatever it is that we're working on.
The ninth one is change your routine. So what got you to today is not going to get you to tomorrow.
Right.
It's changed.
Right.
So change your routine. Maybe you need to get up earlier. Maybe you need to spend a little more time being intentional during your day and not cutting out middle of the day to go play golf or whatnot. But change your routine. Change your routine because it's what are you doing differently to keep you moving, to keep you going? What can you do differently to keep you moving differently?
Sure. So what does that look like for you?
For me, is I'm getting up earlier, being more consistent about doing that. I'm not giving myself, letting myself off the hook and saying, I can do it later.
Right.
Because I know I want to be intentional about my time later.
Right.
And plus, working out in the morning gives me energy for the rest of the day.
Right. So that's a good investment for you.
Yeah. So it's a good investment, right?
Right.
And then really the 10th thing is I'm real passionate. You should be doing this anyway, but being more intentional about being a connector and a resource. Be a person first and an agent second. Always talk about that. This improves your existing relationships while also tilting the scale of reciprocity.
Right.
You're giving, you're giving, you're giving, and the law of reciprocity means that eventually that's going to come back to you. So be a connector and a resource in your community.
Well, like you said earlier in your points here, is that you want to build your database. That database should include resources for all the people that are in your database.
Exactly.
You know, you're really good contractors, you're really good lawyers, you're really good tax guy, you're really good. All of those people that can be really good resources for your clients and your database, you need to build those relationships as well as being able to refer them to people so that people think of you as the guy that will always have the answer for somebody.
You want to be the answer guy. You want to be the connector.
Yep.
So this is how and what this gives teeth to how you change the conversation. These are things that you could actually tangibly be doing to change that conversation into a changing marketplace.
And you know, just looking through everything that we prepared for today, like this is only a small piece of really what you should be looking at. This is just the top 10.
Well, there's conceptual and then there's tangible, and this
Right.
was stuff that these are steps that people could actually take.
Right.
Versus concept or mindset, which is all still very important, but we also want to make sure there's things that people can be doing, like
Sure.
physically doing.
Of course.